Cannizaro Park is a public park in Wimbledon in the London Borough of Merton. Located towards the southwestern edge of Wimbledon Common, it is known for its ornamental landscaped gardens with ponds and sculpture. The park is Grade 2 listed on the Register of Historic Parks and Gardens and is the remnant of the former country estate and house, now the Hotel du Vin. The aviary, which welcomes you as you enter the park, was built in Gothic style and is now the only remaining aviary in London of this type. The house and estate were built in the 18th century and was owned by the Grosvenor and Drax families, who, for most of its history, rented it out to a series of wealthy tenants. The adjacent Royal Wimbledon Golf Course and the western parts of Wimbledon Village were also once parts of the estate. Between 1785 and 1806, Home Secretary and the Secretary of State for War, Henry Dundas, 1st Viscount of Melville, occupied the estate. At this time, it was a major social centre for royalty and senior politicians. George III and Prime Minister William Pitt the Younger both stayed here regularly. Viscount Dundas organised the landscaping of the gardens, the basic structure of what we see today. The Lady Jane Wood in the gardens is a memorial to his wife. In 1817, Sicilian Francis Platamone, Count Sant'Antonio, and his Scottish wife Sophia leased the estate and held regular parties and concerts. Attendees included Prime Minister the Duke of Wellington and Mrs. Fitzherbert, mistress of King George IV. The Count left his wife and returned to Italy in 1832 when he inherited the title Duke of Cannizaro. The Duchess remained at the estate until she died in 1841. After her death, the house came to be known by her husband's title, Cannizaro House. In the 1920s, Cannizaro House and Estate was owned by Admiral Drax. He then sold it to the Wilson family, which were its last private owners. The Wilsons owned the house until the late 1940s and made a series of improvements in the gardens, with planting new trees, rhododendrons, azaleas, and camellias. In 1947, the estate was sold to Wimbledon Borough Council. The gardens were subsequently opened to the public shortly afterwards, and the house was for a time used as a nursing home. The London Borough of Merton sold the house in the 1980s, and it was then converted into its current use, a hotel. The surrounding gardens, however, remain in public ownership. Most parts are well maintained, keeping the character of the large private garden, with many distinct areas known as small garden rooms. For a number of years, the Italian garden saw opera performances in the summer as part of the Cannizaro Festival. Cannizaro Park was also home to the bust of the Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie. The statue was toppled in June 2020 by a crowd of around 100 protesters thought to have been linked to the unrest in Ethiopia. Specimen trees were planted during the Victorian era, alongside many older specimens such as several large stunted oaks, which date back several hundred years and are still to be seen today. The Hotel du Vin has been refurbished to its former glory. Its distinctive setting has hosted the likes of Lord Tennyson, Oscar Wilde, and even the last Maharaja of Punjab. The sunken garden was created by the estate's last private owners in the 20s and was maintained to match the best in London and beyond. If you want to visit Cannizaro Park, it's open all year, every day morning till dusk. They welcome dogs and it's free entry.